Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Wreck and Rule. It's been a while since we've done a commentary or analysis video. My name is Brian. Today I want to hit you guys up with the top 10 cards that I'm hoping to pull on Friday. To give you guys some context here, so number one, as of right now I'm recording this on a Tuesday. This video will probably go up on a Wednesday. As of right now, we do not know what Deadlock does, who's one of the Decepticons, the only Decepticon who has not yet been spoiled. We also do not know what the super rare version of Bumblebee does. Some guidelines I set for myself here. So number one, I want to try to keep this quick. So hopefully this video will be done in about 10 minutes. Two, I'm not including the super rares. We are all hoping to pull Nemesis or Bumblebee, the super rare version. Going to not include them in this video. I'm also not throwing in the commons. By the time that we get done, we will all have, bushels and bushels of extra versions of the common characters. So with that said, let's kind of get things rolling here. So coming in at number 10, we have Thundercracker. So Thundercracker is an 8-cost character. We finally saw him this week. We've been chomping at the bit, waiting to see him and Skywarp. 8 cost, I think Thundercracker offers you quite a bit. Jet mode, 4 attack. Robot mode, 5 attack. And if you play in action, that bumps him up to 6 attack, which is Grimlock levels of attack, which is pretty strong. 12 health is pretty good. That 1 defense is a little bit rough, but it seems that the Jets going to all have low defense. Jet mode, when you flip into it, you can do 2 damage to a melee enemy. That's also powerful. So a lot of the really strong characters in this game are melee characters, and you will see them on the table. It's going to be a helpful skill to have out there. Another cool thing, which we'll talk about in a little bit, Thundercracker lets you get him, get Skywarp, and then get the uncommon version of Starscream all together in at 25 stars. And it's good to have the classic Seeker trio on the table. Let us take a look now at number 9. So number 9, got to be Kickback. We've all been waiting to see if we can fit 4 Insecticons into a list, and we can. The way you do that is Kickback is at 5 stars. You take Ransack, you take Chop Shop, both of them at 6, and then from there leaves you room for 1 more. Depending how you want to go, you could do Barrage, you could do Bombshell, you could do Shrapnel. So here, regardless of that, Kickback is a great addition to your team. So first up, let's take a look now at Bug mode. Bug mode, when he does damage to an enemy, you can repair 1 damage from one of your Insecticons. All the Insecticons are all pretty low health, so you want to keep them away from that brink of death as much as possible. That is going to help you to do that. On top of that, if you look at him in robot mode, when he attacks, you can flip 2 more battle cards for each other Insecticon that you began the game with. Now, he does start with 0 there. However, you are effectively getting bold 6 on his attack, assuming that you begin the game with 3 other Insecticons. Add that to the 2 cards you flip over standard. Hopefully you get some white pips, you get even more out there. With a 4 wide character deck, chances are you want to kind of slant that towards orange pips to get that damage out there. So Kickback is going to be great for that. One other possibility is he's only 5 stars. You can take him, you could take Flame War, you could take RC, you're at 15, you have 10 stars left. There could be an interesting combo somewhere in there to have 1 heavy hitter and then 3 grunts out there. Although again, we can all argue, and we'll talk about soon, that RC is also a very powerful character. Let's take a look now, and we are moving on to number 8. Number 8, we have to go with Sludge. So Sludge, if you want to do a Dinobot team, he is almost an essential. You can only ever take 3 Dinobots, and I'm going to almost guarantee you that you probably want Sludge in there. He's got pretty strong stats in both modes, 4 for attack in Dino, 5 in Robot. He's got that 12 health, only 1 defense in Dino mode, 2 is about average in Robot mode there. So Sludge is great because he keeps your Dinobots alive. When you flip into his Dinobot mode, you can transfer damage from your other Dinobots over to him. If you're taking Grimlock, it is almost a guarantee that you want Sludge there to help you to keep Grimlock alive. So he's great for that. Robot mode, he also helps keep your Dinobots alive. So when one of your Dinobots attacks, you can repair damage from it. And that does include him, so it helps to keep him alive and in the game for a little bit longer too. So Sludge is fantastic. The one thing you have to remember when you use him is that he does not have, in either mode, the melee keyword. There are a lot of really strong melee weapons that you want to put on the characters. Keep in mind, if it's melee only, it cannot go onto Sludge. Easy to forget that because he and Swoop are the only Dinobots that do not have that keyword. So again, Sludge is great. If you're doing dinos, you want Sludge in there. Moving on now to number 7. So number 7's got to be Prowl. Prowl, we saw him today for the first time. And looking here, probably the biggest strength he has is that 6-star cost. What that lets you get is you can take him, you can take Cliff Jumper, and there's good synergy between like that car subtype right there. So in car mode, all of your other cars get bold too. Keep in mind that they need to be in car mode to get that until the end of the turn. That does include him. I don't know if I said other or not there, but Prowl is included in that. So you can get that bold too automatically in that car mode. That's fantastic, whether for him or another character. On top of that, if he's in robot mode, when one of your cars gets KO'd, which is something where if you pair him with Cliff Jumper, you kind of want your other cars to get KO'd to power up Cliff Jumper, you get to repair 3 damage from one of your other characters, which again, if Cliff Jumper has taken damage, helps to keep him in the game for a little bit longer. So your list for cars probably begins with Cliff Jumper at 8, then you take RC at 5, puts you at 13, you take Prowl at 6, that puts you at 19. You have 6 stars left over, and there's a variety of different ways you can go from there. So you could go and you could take the starter version of Bumblebee. You could take Jazz, who we saw today as well. You could take Red Alert. Those are all fantastic choices to fill out your list right there. So Prowl, also good. Taking a look now, we're looking at number 6 here. Number 6 is we're going to have to go with Chop Shop. So Chop Shop is another one of our Insecticons. He's one of your auto includes because if you take an Insecticon team, you have to take Kickback, without a doubt. You have to take Chop Shop, and you have to take Ransack. And then you can fill out your last one. So Chop Shop, even though you sort of have to include him, he is also very powerful. So I'm going to begin by taking a look at his robot mode. Before we get there though, he does have strong stats. He's got that 4 attack at least in both bug and bot mode. That 9 health is low, but low health is kind of a constant for every Insecticon. Taking a look here, robot mode. When he attacks, you can move an upgrade from one of your other characters over to him. So if, let's say that you have, you've got Kickback on your team. You give Kickback that power sword, he attacks early, and then later on in the round there, when Chop Shop is attacking, he gets to kind of leech away that power sword, and then he gets to attack with it as well. Insecticon deck, you probably have a lot of orange, so bold is a fantastic keyword to have. If I remember correctly, I think every Insecticon does have melee as a subtype, so that's an easy way to fill out some weapon upgrades there. On top of that, when you transform him into bug mode, any upgrades on him get scrapped. For each one that you scrap, you can draw a card, and you can also repair 1 damage from your Insecticons. You kind of want to see Swarm, so this is a great way to try to get that Swarm card into your hand. And Swarm either allows you flip an orange, flip oranges, you do damage to the other team. If you flip blues, you get to heal your own team. So either way, as an Insecticon deck, it's doing what you want to do. Chop Shop, great member to add in there. We're going to take a look now at number 5. So number 5, I think, is going to be a little bit of a sleeper hit. I think people might not realize how good he is right now, but I think that they will eventually. You're gonna have to go with Demolisher here. So Demolisher is a tank. 6 stars gives you great value here. Now his health, as you can see, is very low, but that is balanced out by the fact that he does have that 3 defense in tank mode, even better, 4 defense in robot mode. It's pretty high. So here, his tank mode, to be quite honest, is probably the more boring of the 2 modes. When you flip into it, for every other tank you have, you get to draw a card. Now you can take him, Dark Mount, and the common Megatron together to give you 3 tanks in one list. It will be tricky to time that right, because for this to fire off, you need Dark Mount and Megatron in tank mode. That might be tricky to time that. Even if you only get 1, that could still be good. But for the most part, you want to keep him in robot mode. Now robot mode, 0 for his attack value to begin with. However, when you attack, you flip over extra battle cards equal to his defense. So you get that 2 automatically no matter what when you attack. And then base, you flip over 4 more. If you can get his defense higher, so you give him armor plating where you get that +2 defense, you're flipping 6 cards. There are a couple of different utilities which also add to your defense. Get that even higher up there, maybe up to 7. It's fantastic, and it's really good to help you to kind of mill through that deck. This is great for pairing him with Nemesis. My buddy Joe has been using that a lot, and he likes that combo, and that's a very powerful combination there. So Demolisher, if you see him, be happy you have him. He's a great addition for only 6 stars. Moving on now, we're looking at number 4. We have to go with RC. So RC been a kind of a hot topic on the Facebook group. So when you flip her into motorcycle mode, she heals 1 from each of your characters. That's great. Robot mode though is where it's at. So her pierce is equal to her attack. You give her weapons, you up her attack value, she gets that amount of pierce. So you put a grenade launcher, she's sitting at 5 attack right there. No matter what, that 5 attack gets through. That is going to kill a lot of characters without having to work very hard. Set it up early, have her finish them off. She does only have 1 defense, so if you kind of leave her vulnerable, or if your opponent gets to attack first in a round, she could get 1 shot, so you got to be careful with that. One of the best things about her though is her cost. At only 5, that opens up a lot of different team building possibilities. If you want to do Autobot cars, as weird as it sounds, you probably want her in there so that you can get 3 cars in there in addition to her. Also opens up a lot of other possibilities too. We'll talk more about that when we get to number 2. So with RC, we are going to move on now to our number 3. Number 3, we have to go with Skywarp. So Skywarp, people were like rabid trying to find out. Didn't even care like what he did. We wanted to know how much he cost because we wanted to fit 3 jets into 1 list. Essentially, the way that this goes is with Skywarp, when he's defending, and if you can flip at least 1 white pip, you can choose another of your characters to take the damage instead. So it can keep him alive, and there's moments where that could be really, really helpful. You save Skywarp from death, and you have another character that, he can take that attack and still stay on the table. Good way to kind of keep 2 characters out there without losing one of the 2. Jet mode, when you flip into it, each player reveals the top card of their deck. Let you know what's coming. Could also be helpful. Especially with him. No, that's not going to work. Never mind. But like this allows you some tricks that you can definitely pull here. That 4 attack value in both modes is pretty powerful. That's nothing to complain about when you have only 6 stars as your cost. So Skywarp, as we said before with Thundercracker, one of the best things is it opens up jet team building possibilities. Obviously, the team that everybody wants to try will be Skywarp, Thundercracker. Then that uncommon version of Starscream comes out to 25 on the dot. I'm going to move on now, taking a look at number 2. Number 2 has to be the rare version of Optimus Prime. So Optimus Prime, Battlefield Legend. So here he's got really high attack in both modes, 6 in truck mode, 8 in robot mode. The high 14 health, 3 defense is strong in truck mode, 2 is average in robot mode. Highest cost character so far, 13 stars. Looking here, So when he flips into truck mode, you can put an action card from your scrap pile to your hand. We've all had that moment where we are flipping for attack or for defense. We see a card that we wish that we had. This lets you kind of bring it back to your hand to use it. In robot mode, the neat thing is that when he attacks and you flip out your cards before the defender flips out their cards, you can play one of those actions that you just flipped out. And there's a lot of really, really neat possibilities with that. I'm looking forward to trying that out. The downside here is that at 13 stars, he does limit how you can build out your team. You can either take 2 6-star characters, you can take a 5-star character like RC, and then the 7-star character. You could maybe go for that 12-star character and just run 2 characters, but that is probably going to be pretty risky. So we have to move on now to our number 1 character. Our number 1 character, by far, without a doubt, has to be the big bad man himself, Grimlock. So with Grimlock, strong attack in both modes. So 4 Dino mode, 6 Robot mode. 12 health is pretty strong. 2 defense is average in both. 10 stars gives you a couple different ways to kind of team him up with his fellow Dinobots. I like him with Sludge, which means that you can either take Swoop or Snarl as your third. I like Snarl in that situation because it gives you a second melee character to throw weapons onto, like a power sword. Robot mode. So if you take a look here, when he does more than enough attack damage to KO an enemy, your opponent then chooses the extra amount and puts it onto one of their characters. So really strong. You never overkill a character. That extra damage is always put to some type of use, and that can be really, really good, especially when they only have 2 characters left on the table. And then Dinobot mode, when you flip into it, one of your Dinobots gets bold 3 till the end of the turn, and that does include Grimlock as well. Really, really great, because Dinobots already like bold. They have things like Jaws of Steel. You want to use things like Flamethrower or Power Sword. You want to kind of weigh that deck a little bit more towards orange to get that damage out there. You still need blue, though, because you want to help to keep them alive as well. So Grimlock has to be my number 1. If you get him, you will not be disappointed. Either you want to play him, or if you're not feeling the Dinobots, he's going to be great trade fodder. I can guarantee you right now, I might regret this later, I can almost without a doubt say that Grimlock will be the highest cost rare to get your hands on if you do not pull him out of the pack. And I hope that you do. So that's my number 10. I'm curious, guys, what would you say your number 10 would be? Did I make any major mistakes here? Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, etc. So game comes out on Friday. This is Wednesday. My bad, this is Tuesday. Video probably goes up on Wednesday. I wish you guys luck. If you have a release event, I hope that it goes well. Hope it's well attended. I hope you guys have fun. This is Brian from Wreck and Roll. Have a good night.